So when they sin, you want God to strike. How about when you sin? Now, because the thing is, for God to be fair, God have to strike everyone that is sinning. So how about when you sin? So when they were sinning, God was on their ears saying, hey, come unto me. Leave that alone. And so the same thing God do for you. When you were doing something wrong, God said, hey, leave that alone. Come back to me. But, and it's in our nature. And many want God to strike. Well, if you want God to strike, then when you're doing something wrong, you also want God to strike. And that's how God would have to be fair if God is striking. Now imagine yourself. If God was striking when people were sinning, remember that's what God sees. When people were sinning, if God was striking, I don't even think you'd be alive. Your brother David would probably not be alive. I've done enough, in my own life. And I strive every day, in front of the Lord. But the thing is, though, I wouldn't want God to use that type of way of showing that whether he's fair or not fair. I probably wouldn't be here. So this is why sometimes we want God to strike, and that's how you want God to show God is fair, right? And you hold that as the reason why God is not fair. Well, if God is striking, God is going to have to strike everyone. And so the thing is, at the end of the day, this is why God is fair. When God, whatever is going out there, whatever is going through you, whatever you're doing that is wrong, God sees sin. You cannot want God to strike for sin, because you also sin. You'd be struck too. So what we got to do as Christians, pray for those who trespass against us and help them get better. And, I'm not saying personally, but you can pray for them in the background and for them to get better, for them to, whatever they're going through that makes them act the way they do. So for that, for that aspect to get better in their lives, and maybe they become better people. So basically, the idea that God is not fair is just a selfish, it's a selfish statement. And majority of anything, why me, why not me, why this person get this, that's the law of reciprocity. And when something's happening wrong to us and we want God to strike, remember, you might be specific, but God sees sin. And if you want God to strike for sin, God will probably have to strike you too. And so at the end of the day, our God is fair. This is why you're still here, because God didn't strike you for sin. And that's why that person is still there also. God didn't strike him for sin.